Okay, here we go, Abby, section 3.3. Most of this section is about reading graphs and answering questions about it. So I just have a little example graph here, and we answer questions like, is this graph increasing on the interval -10 to -7? Well, what we do is we look at the points, and we always answer, those interval questions are always answered with our x's. So when it says, is it increasing from -10 to -7, that's telling us where. So we look at the graph from -10 to -7, so in this little patch, but in this patch the graph is going down, so no. But is the graph increasing from -7 to -3? Look at the graph. Yes, in that section it's going up. So the where question is answered by the x's. Is the graph increasing from -3 to 1, which we can find right here? No, from -3 to 1 it's going down. If they ask you to tell, well, where is it increasing? Again, we answer with x coordinates and we write it in parentheses. So from -7 to -3, it's increasing. We don't worry about the y's. And then it's also increasing from 1 all the way to infinity. That's where it's increasing. Where is it decreasing? Well, from -infinity to -7, it's decreasing. From -3 to 1, it's decreasing. So that's the interval on which f, which is just the name of the function, is decreasing. Where does it have a local maximum? That's a high point. Well, it has a local maximum at -3. That just means a high point. Where does it have local minimums? Those are low points at -7 and at 1. It has local minimums. Those are, again, just low points. Is there a maximum at -3? Yes, there is. If we look above -3, we find a maximum. Now, here's the only time we use the y coordinate when we answer a what question. What is it? That's the y coordinate. So, what is the local maximum? It's 8. Is there a local minimum at -7? Yes, above -7, there's a low point. What is it? 3. So what questions are answered with y coordinates? Where questions are answered with x coordinates. So that's all it is. This section, local maximums are high points, local minimums are low points, and we answer those where questions. Where is it? With the x coordinate. Increasing just means going up from left to right, and decreasing just means going down from left to right. And we write the intervals like this. It looks like a point, but we're using interval notation, and in this case, this means from -7 to -3. So it's from -7 to -3, increasing. So sloppy because I'm trying to look at myself on the camera. Okay, the only other thing in this section is called average rate of change. And the good news is average rate of change is basically slope. So on the bottom, we have our x coordinates, just like always. And on the top, we have our y coordinates, just like always. But this time, we're going to have to do a little work to get the y coordinates. So we do the x coordinate part first, and it's the easiest. It's going to give you this from 3 to 5. That's answering a where question. These are your x's, and they go on the bottom. So 5 minus 3 goes on the bottom, or 3 minus 5 if you don't mind getting a negative number. It doesn't matter what order. Now, take this first number, whichever one you used first, and plug it in. So I take the 5 and I plug it into here. So 2 plus 3 times 5. That's 2 plus 15. That's 17. Now, the minuses come from the formula. Now take the 3 and plug it in, or whichever number you put second. So I put the 3 in. 2 plus 3 times 3. That's 2 plus 9. That's 11. And now all I have to do is simplify. 6 over 2. That's 3. That's the average rate of change. Average rate of change is kind of another word for slope. So now I'm going to take one of your problems that you're supposed to do. I gave you 35 through 38. I'm going to do 39. X squared minus 2x, and we're doing it from 1 to 2. So on the bottom, I put 2 minus 1 because I like to put the big one first, but it's really up to you. So I put these two numbers go on the bottom just like before. Put those two numbers on the bottom. And then in the top, I put where I plugged them in. So I plugged the 2 in. 2 squared minus 2 times 2. That's 4 minus 4, that's 0. And that's okay to plug a 0 in. Now I put in my 1. The minus is part of the formula, so I'm not putting in a negative 1. I put in my 1. 1 squared minus 2 times 1. So that's 1 minus 2, negative 1. The minus is part of the formula, so I have minus a negative 1 there. Remember, minus is in the formula. So I put it, and then my answer was negative 1, so I have 2 minuses there. Just a little simplification gives me 1 over 1. So the answer to number 39 is 1. Okay, now, the only thing you have to be aware of is no zeros in the denominator of your answer. So it's okay to have a 0 in your work, but when you get your final answer, no 0 in the denominator means no solution. You can get a 0 in the top. So this is okay. This is a no solution. So no zeros in the denominator. It's okay to get a 0 in the top. And again, this is talking about the answer. It's okay to have a 0 in your work. You might plug a 0 in here or here. It's okay to have zeros anywhere in your work. But when you get to this part where you've simplified and get your answer, no zeros in the denominator. That answer would be no solution. All right, that's it for this section. Good luck. Feel free to ask me questions if you get stuck on any of it.